Hello, this is Amy, and this is going to be a video response to Ladygravedancer's giveaway question about any paranormal activity or supernatural activity that you've experienced or been a part of. And I wasn't quite sure if that meant, certain dreams or if it had to be like seeing spirits or anything. So I'm just going to kind of go with the most basic definition, being spirits and stuff like that. So the major one that stands out in my mind actually took place in one of my childhood homes. We moved to this place and stayed in this place for the longest part of my childhood, for over 10 years. So when we moved in this house, and I've had friends who visited this house tell me that it's like a hot spot. There's like a lot of activity going on there, or at least that's what they said, other sensitive friends. So this wasn't like a calm, whatever, cool, collected house. Like, for example, we'd be sitting, the living room, they didn't have like a hallway area, but it had a living room. And every now and then the door would just open, even though it was locked, completely locked. You check the doorknob, it was locked, everybody shut it right, it would just open. And we'd always joke in the family, oh, the ghost wants to go in and out. So it was kind of like a fun, silly thing. It might not be completely paranormal, but the other one that I had was my bedroom would actually face the side of the house right against the neighbor's fence. So it's like, here's my bedroom, here's the side of the house, and my sister's bedroom was here. That's where the sister's bedroom's here, backyard, and then kind of a little alleyway on the other side where the kitchen and living room were. So I remember there's certain times where, and I don't remember writing down when or what it happened, but my bed was always facing the window, right next to the window, because I like the cold breeze. And I would get this feeling of a very, very large dog kind of pacing back and forth and guarding the area. And by large dog, the windowsill, when I was standing outside, would come up right under the bra line. And you kind of have to, like, because I remember I would be able to get into the window if I jumped up, like pulled myself up into it, but it wasn't an easy jump. So it was like right under your bra line. That's how high the window was. And that dog was maybe like that much shorter than it. So it was a very, very big dog. There's also a dog house when we first moved in there that was a pretty big dog house, but that was pretty common for the area, having a big wooden dog house in the backyard. But I would feel this sometimes, this dog, and I didn't see it directly, but just the feeling and the sound. And like, I don't know why in my mind's eye I pictured it black. I don't know if anybody else has dealt with certain spirits where you don't just see them like with your eyes, but you see them in here. And it would just, yeah, just be patrolling almost, not pacing, but patrolling the area. And I never felt scared like it would come inside and harm me, but I do know that I got the feeling, the distinct feeling, like I don't want to go outside and be there when it's patrolling. I wouldn't want to stick my hand out the window. And I remember like a while later or something, I mentioned in some joke with one of my sisters, like, oh yeah, like the phantom dog that, patrols the backyard. And they're like, yeah, I felt it too. It comes around every so often, and so it's weird to have like the extra confirmation, because we're in two separate rooms. We didn't talk about this stuff, and we both had that same experience. Outside of that, another thing that takes place also in that house, one area. So we have the living room, and then the hallway, and then kind of like, it's like a T-zone hallway, and along the T are all the bedrooms. There are full bedrooms there. And one of the bedrooms was kind of like the computer room, because it's way back when. And I remember not wanting to stay up late, because especially around 3 a.m. I remember 3 a.m. was a big number. 3 to 4 a.m. somewhere there. I remember going, I need to fall asleep before then, because I had this happen to me a few times, and after that I was like, oh, I don't want to be awake when this happens. Where I would be in kind of the furthest corner of that T in the computer, and it would sound like somebody had left the TV on at night, like a really low. So I heard like several different male-female voices talking back and forth, and yeah, like just somebody left the TV off. And I remember so many nights I'd turn off the computer because I'd stay up hecka late, and I'd get out of the bedroom, walk a few feet to that T-zone area, and that hallway extended, it went right into the living room. There's nothing blocking. That living room was dark. There was no TV on. There was no lights on, and the voices had stopped by then. As soon as I got to that car, like, there's nothing. But it happened enough times where I'm like, okay, I don't want to stay up until 3 or 4 a.m. alone. Um, so yeah, most of the time when I've had, I mean, those are the two big ones that stick out. There's another one that I'm going to tell you in a little bit, but before I do, I want to just say most of my experiences with spirits or other things like that has been pretty neutral. I find like for me, I'm pretty easygoing. I'm like, all right, if you don't mess with me, my family, my friends, do what you want, you know? Um, and kind of vice versa. Like you have, you know, whatever, you live here, I live here, just don't mess around with me and I'll be fine. Um, but when they don't feel good, I can only remember like one or maybe two instances where I was in the house and that happened. And this one instance I'll bring up. It was, I had moved to a totally different house. I was with my husband and my first son was still a really infant, really, really small. And my husband was away at work and it was during the day and my baby was down for a nap in the room. And I was in the kitchen. So I was facing the sink. And suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I see like kind of the shadow of a really tall man. So I'm 5'3", and this guy was at least like 6 feet tall, broad-shouldered, short hair. Like I could see it. He looked like a shadow, like you know when you're walking along and you see shadow like that. Like I couldn't see like, but there he was. And I remember getting this really distinct gut uncomfortable reaction. Like this is not okay. Um, Creeped me out badly. I remember yelling at it, saying, "Get the hell out! Get the hell out! Get the hell out!" I did not like it at all. That was, I would say, the negative experience. He did show up actually a couple times after that. The house had some weird, had more humanoid spirits than any other houses I've ever been to. Because that house also had a really small child, like shadow person living in there, running around the hallways. Um, and the reason I can say that is because I've seen it and I thought it was my son and it wasn't. You know, my husband, totally unrelated because we don't really talk about this stuff. He'd have mentioned it too, and I go, "Oh, it's just the shadow person, not our son." It's like, "Oh yeah, I see that too." And then I think my sister-in-law saw it too, because she mentioned the same thing. You know, when I jokingly brought it up, like, you know. But that man was the only one where I remember feeling very, very, very uncomfortable. Like he wasn't there for just like this is my place, I'm hanging out, and he wasn't there like he was there for some menacing purpose. Um, so yeah, that's the main paranormal stuff that I've experienced and thoughts of like spirit stuff. So I thought I would share that. I know it might seem like really weird or like I'm on drugs or something. I don't know. But those are the ones that I've experienced. In my life. I've never seen a full blown apparition where it looks like a person standing in front of me. Um, Mostly because I don't want to see that kind of stuff, and I know I block out a lot of stuff. Most of it just kind of involves seeing in my kind of shadow figures. So, um, yeah, this video is like 8.5 minutes long, so I'll cut it off there. That's been kind of the major paranormal spirit type stuff. That have happened to me when I've been like awake and conscious. Um, so yeah, I hope this kind of made sense. And talk to you guys later. Bye.